Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 40 Days with Dietrich. You'll notice I'm in a different place here. Here I am in my home office. I need to spend the next couple days just working from home. But our journey with Dietrich Bonhoeffer continues. And so here we are. Today's excerpt is taken from Bonhoeffer's book, Ethics. And if you remember, Ethics was a book that Bonhoeffer wanted to write and worked on for many years. And he had all these scraps of writings all kind of strewn about in different places, chapters here and chapters there. And after his execution in 1945, all of these writings were compiled into what we know as Ethics. Bonhoeffer's thoughts on Christian ethics, how Christians live the ethical life. In today's excerpt, we read what is titled The Ultimate Word. Dietrich writes, "Before the ultimate word, Luther and Paul stood no differently than the thief on the cross. We must travel a road, even though there is no road to this goal, and we must travel this road to the end. That is, to the place where God puts an end to it. The penultimate reality remains in existence, even though it is completely superseded by the ultimate, and it is no longer in force. The word of God's justifying grace never leaves its place as the ultimate word. It never simply presents itself as an achieved outcome that could now just as well be placed at the beginning as at the end. The way from the penultimate to the ultimate cannot be abandoned. The word remains irreversibly the ultimate. Otherwise, it would be degraded to something calculable, a commodity, and would be robbed of its essential divinity. Grace would become cheap. It would not be a gift." So let's first deal with that odd word, penultimate. Obviously, in this passage, Bonhoeffer is playing on penultimate, that which goes before the ultimate, and ultimate. And in Ethics, Bonhoeffer has quite a large section dealing with this. It's best to think about penultimate as, as the road that we have to travel. So just kind of before this passage, Bonhoeffer would talk about how, Luther had to spend time in the monastery. Paul had his whole life in the temple before his conversion on the Damascus Road. And so that would be what Bonhoeffer would consider penultimate, kind of the understanding of life as we experience it here, but as a way which is disconnected from that call of grace, that word of God that comes and justifies and saves. And in Ethics, one of the things that Bonhoeffer will say is the danger of the penultimate is that we think that it's the ultimate. Right? We think that all of life is going to be caught up in this. So as long as I get as famous as I can get, or as rich as I can get, or as successful I can be, this world is the ultimate existence of my life. And this will be where I will find my salvation. And Bonhoeffer is saying, no, this is the penultimate. We need to progress to the ultimate, where we receive the salvation of God, the justifying work. And so, disconnected from God's grace, this is where Bonhoeffer says, well, Luther and Paul were the same as the thief on the cross, right? They were still existing in a life which was, some sense, disconnected from the justification, from the act of God through Jesus on the cross. And so the penultimate is the road that we are traveling here. The penultimate isn't what it's about. What this road is about is to lead us to the ultimate. Lead us to that which we find our salvation in, to that which we find our full satisfaction in, to that which we find our full life in, which is the call of God in Jesus Christ. And so this life of ours should lead us there. And this is where Bonhoeffer talks a little bit about we have to be careful to maintain the notion that salvation is a gift of grace, that our new life in Jesus is not based on what we do. It is not based on how we live or how perfect we are. Here, if you've ever read Discipleship, you'll see a little bit of a connection there. So Bonhoeffer talks about the word of God's justifying grace is never not an ultimate reality. It always exists a little bit apart from us, but grace makes its way to us, right? If we think that we can earn grace, if we think that we can earn our salvation, earn God's love, then Bonhoeffer says, well, this means that we would be degrading grace to something calculable, something that we can manipulate, something which we could commodify. And then so we would rob it of its divinity and we would see it as fully a human thing. Grace, however, is a gift. It's a gift of love. It is an ultimate reality that comes and bursts into our life, not because of what we've done, not because of how we've massaged the penultimate life in the road that we have to travel, but because it is a gift of God's love that comes to us unearned and free. And so as we travel this penultimate reality, this penultimate road, Bonhoeffer says, the call for us is to always look to the ultimate. Always look to that which is beyond what we can create here and only to what we can receive in the mercy and love of Jesus. God bless you as you travel your journey of Lent, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.